Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May 23rd Citizens Police Review Board meeting. So I want to recognize the folks.
Okay,
We
go
do
ahead.
have a quorum. Stephanie, did we hear from Miss McClellan?
Yes, she won't be in attendance.
Okay, anybody else?
Mr. Green is coming.
Okay, so we're good?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So again, folks, because we didn't have a quorum in March and April, we do have some notes because we don't have a quorum, we don't have official meeting minutes. However, we do have, and they were sent to you, the February 28th minutes, and we need to approve those minutes. So do I hear a motion?
I so move.
Thank you, sir.
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Darby. Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, I should ask, is there any addition, I'm sorry, were there any revisions to those minutes? Hearing none, let's do that vote again, please. Aye. Okay. Any opposition? All right, the ayes have it. So tonight we will do the outline of the proceedings, the board business, followed by the case reviews, and then if anybody would like to announce at the public announcement section of this meeting, please put your name in, and Stephanie's monitoring our chat. Thank you, Stephanie.
Dr. Gershio,
Yes.
I would like to offer for you to consider apparently a distributed minutes, an agenda that was dated April 23rd, 2023, and that's what appears on the screen now. My apologies for not having corrected it to make it May 23rd, 2023. I will note, though, that the information within it would be appropriate to tonight's meeting for consideration, such as the notes and the meeting minutes from February being the only outstanding minutes that have to be approved. So other than it being identified as the agenda for tonight, the date at the top is incorrect. It should be May 23rd, but the substance of it does refer to the May 23rd meeting.
Thank you. While you're speaking,
Likewise, do you wish the board to acknowledge formally the notes that were prepared for the meetings on March 28th and April 25th?
yes.
I guess that would be board's discretion, Mr. Ward.
Do we want to acknowledge those colleagues?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had made a note of that too, that we should at least record in the minutes that we did read them and acknowledge the content.
Right. So formally then we acknowledge and accept the notes from our March 28th and April 25th meeting, and they are notes again because we did not have a quorum. Alrighty. I have nothing formally to report, so I will pass it on to the executive director's report.
Dr. Gershio, good evening, everyone. Good to see you as we're embarking on what looks like a delightful Memorial weekend, weather-wise anyway. We have a new chief of police in the city of Pittsburgh. Larry Scarrato was confirmed by city council today. His public comments since being vetted by council and what he expressed to council as being his priorities are certainly consistent with goals and aspirations that the board has made over the many years that you've been here. And with that, a happy belated birthday, CPRB. You were 26 on Saturday. So that's something also I think is a milestone for those who were our critics and said we'd never survive, but here we are. But during those 26 years, you issued a lot of reports and suggestions and recommendations. And what I heard Chief Scarato announcing over the last several days are very, very consistent. He's looking at a staffing issue. He certainly has a crisis to resolve in terms of the number of officers that are in service. That is, I believe, a new class coming in July, but that's a far cry from replacing 100 and some officers that they're down right now, and they can certainly lose more. But some of the ideas he's expressed was developing a cadet program, creating a specific recruiting unit, which right now, all the recruiting efforts go through the Department of Human Resources. So police are not involved in that. And you guys, the board recommended several years ago that they have a recruiting unit comprised of the most attractive and the best people we could get out there and send them across the country and do some recruiting like other departments do. Hopefully he will follow through on that, because that might help with the attracting people to Pittsburgh as well as to the service in the Bureau of Police. A number of ideas that he had that were consistent, focusing on officer wellness, which has been a concern for a long time. So he certainly has a lot to do, but his priorities are very sound, at least what we've heard publicly. Another operational issue that he wants to resolve as quickly as possible is to go paperless. Right now, there's a lot of paper being used in the Bureau. You may recall that there was controversy around the development of software that the Bureau was using, a company named B3 that created a lot of technology for the officers to use for reporting, the electronic run sheet, which may or may not be operating. But all of those things were proprietary in nature. So no one but B3 could service the work, service the software, edit, change it, modify it in any way. The prior administration, the Peduto administration, had indicated they were canceling any further contract work with B3 because of the unique issues it was presenting with the proprietary nature of the software in use by the Bureau. So that apparently didn't happen, because over the last couple of years, they were continuing to pay B3 for services related to the software being used by the officers. Now that will have to be transitioned to something that is more versatile and agile for the nature of the work the officers are doing, and also being able to integrate with other reporting models like the 911, the CAD system, so that there's some seamless interaction. And he has expressed that that's one of his priorities, is to be paperless in the Bureau as soon as possible. He also wants to create an online system for people to call in with complaints that otherwise, not misconduct complaints, but complaints that they're having minor issues like trespass or vandalism, things of that nature that don't warrant the use of an officer's time to come out and take a report, but it is important enough that it should be reported and somebody can follow up on it. So he's hoping to enhance the use of technology by civilians to communicate with the police, which will help with the deployment of officers. And he's also looking at civilianizing some positions and deferring some complaints like parking complaints. You may have seen some of that reported in the news in the last few days. The number of parking complaints that our officers go to, which is, it's not a good use of officer time when we have such a problem with violent crime right now. And we're short with the number of officers available. So the assets are few and the demand remains high. And so he's got to figure all of that out. We have not had an opportunity to meet with him. Certainly, he was just confirmed today. So between now and the June meeting, we will attempt to do that and just have a visit. And perhaps he would be willing to come and meet you in either June or July before you go on your August break at one of your next two meetings.
Great.
I don't recall, I know we didn't have an official meeting, since the Rogers case was settled for $8 million. It's noteworthy too, that we are still not aware of any disposition by the district attorney's office. It seems that they keep saying they're still looking at it. And as you know, we cannot actively investigate something that is still subject of a criminal investigation. Again, in that instance, training was a big issue. So our big picture focus on training would be appropriate in looking at that case as well. So I think we intend to include it there, but otherwise we cannot look at any individual officer's conduct in that incident until the district attorney has signed off on all investigations related to the incident. The community liaison position has been posted. Thank you, Ms. Hampton. I know you worked hard to get that accomplished and appreciate it. It's up now. So we'll be receiving applicants and setting up interviews and so on and so forth. And hopefully our community liaison will be in place by late summer, in time to maybe go to the NACOL conference, which would enable us to provide some top-notch, state-of-the-art training for that individual. The administrative assistant position is pending. That should be posted very, very soon. And the investigator position that we had posted previously, we want to reconsider and perhaps seek a new list of qualified applicants for that position.
As a reposting?
Yes, but that list is still current, and unless we cancel it, it
Gotcha.
naturally runs, I believe, in August.
Okay.
And your term notifications will be sent to the mayor and city council by June 1st. We talked about that last month. The notice to the public did occur. And the next official notice is to the mayor and council, and that's due by 6/1 next week. We don't have much else of significance to report to you this month. You know, a lot of time was consumed with the controversy around the selection of the chief of police process. There's still a lot to learn about that. And certainly we have a chief, we're going to support the chief as long as the chief follows best practices, follows the contract, and assures that any misconduct will be dealt with swiftly. And certainly, you know, he needs to have his time to get established. But the process of getting to who that selected individual was remains of interest and concern to many people. We have not opened any official investigation or anything of that nature. We're still trying to determine whether there's something there to bring back to you in terms of your authority to review policies and practices related to recruitment, hiring, training, and retention of the Bureau. So if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, Madam Chair, I believe that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? All righty. I don't believe we have any unfinished business. Anybody have any new business that they would like to deliberate or introduce? I should say introduce. It can't actually be deliberated, but we can certainly bring it. Hearing none, case reviews. And Steph, if you can.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
just Just as a point of information for members, the case agenda you have is cumulative. Though we didn't have the 2 meetings in between since February to actually officially adopt anything there, that agenda does include all of the cases that you would be expected to look at. There's nothing that's carrying. You don't have double or triple agendas to look at. This is cumulative.
I was gonna say, when they continued to work on them, even though we were not able to move forward. Okay.
Yes.
All righty, thank you. So if we could put the agenda with the case reviews. Alrighty. So we have 9 for full investigation, and I'll do them in order here. Case 071-23, case 055-23, case 043-23, case 035-23, case 029-23, case 025-23, case, I think, case 01713, case 01623 EDI, and case 00523. Do I have a motion to move these to full investigation? Or, yeah, motion.
Madam Chair, we just need to make sure that 017 is 23.
Oh, must have said something wrong. Yes, sorry about that.
Mhm.
017-23.
Right, correct. And I move that we accept these for full investigation.
Second,
Second.
discussion, questions for the investigators? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Next set is 30-day extension. And 1 moment, please. Move that out of the way. I'm sorry. Full investigation, there are, for 30-day extension of full investigation, there are 5, 02823, 01023, 00423, 20622, and 085-22. Do I have a motion to move these?
So move, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Darby. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kiki. Any questions for the investigators? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We have one case that is unfounded, and that is case number 186-22. Do I have a motion?
So move, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Darby. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Kiki. Discussion, any questions for the investigators? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. We have 2 cases that are unsustainable. Case number 171-22 and case number 138-21. Do I have a motion to accept these 2 as unsustainable?
I so move.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Thanks. Discussion or questions for the investigators? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. And we have one other. The verbal reprimand, case number 190-19. Do I have a motion?
That's a motion to dismiss as resolved.
Oh, thank you. I'm
You're
sorry.
welcome. You're welcome.
Mhm.
Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions about the dismissal?
I was pleased to see that we have these come across for
Yeah.
us occasionally.
It is nice to say resolved.
Right.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Then we have one that I think is under suspension. Where are we here? Yes, 6 for suspension. Number 200-22 EDI. 187-22, 18122, 17522, 102-22, and 099-22. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
I second.
Any discussion or questions for the investigators?
I did have a quick question. The first one, if you could scroll back up of this 6. I know I've been out the last 2 meetings, and I did look through the minutes and saw the discussion around the lack of response regarding the training. That's tied to this case? I can't see the number on 220 or
Yes.
200.
Yes, yes, that's the case that we were attempting to obtain the training material related to supervisors training. And we've been seeking it since November 15th or 16th. And you'll recall we've reported to you that we've had a lot of resistance. You authorized the issuance of a subpoena. We've attempted to resolve it with the law department. And I don't know, Mr. Ward, if you wish to weigh in on this. They have not answered us now since I believe it was May 8th. Is that correct, Mr. Ward? May 8th?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I
So-
followed up this afternoon as well.
They
Can
didn't
I ask,
answer you today.
what was the response on May 8th, or what was what did they share on that at that time?
Actually, the response was by email on May 4th, in which they, meaning the law department, informed us that they would be happy to provide us a copy of the policies that are public record from the Pittsburgh Police Policies and Procedural Manual. So that was on Thursday, May 4th. And on Monday, May 8th, I responded and informed the city solicitor that their response really falls far short of the materials that the board had been attempting to obtain since November 15th, 2022.
Oh, gosh.
I outlined what was, in fact, part of their policy, which proved our argument that these are things that they should do and have and produce. I asked them to respond to my May 8th email by yesterday. No response was received. I followed up this afternoon with a courtesy nudge to suggest that because we will be meeting tonight as a board, it would be nice to have their response, and more narrowly, a date by which we can expect to receive the requested documentation. I received no response.
So what's our sort of recourse on this?
the formal recourse is to, if the subpoena has not yet been issued or served, I can't recall the status since that goes back to November, to do so. If it has been issued and served, then it would be going to the Court of Common Pleas to request the enforcement.
And Beth, was a subpoena issued?
No.
No, okay. You were trying to negotiate this. Okay.
Correct.
That's correct. And when we met with the city solicitor, Mr. Ward and I, and at that point forward, I had some communication with an associate city solicitor, but we needed to bump it up to the professional protocol of Mr. Ward addressing it directly with the solicitor, because the assistant solicitor was obviously not taking us seriously. We have the subpoena prepared. We've had that prepared for a while. We've asked them for what we have in the subpoena, is exactly what we asked them to provide to us voluntarily. So we're prepared. We gave it one last shot for this month's meeting. And since they've not responded, and not even had the courtesy to respond to Mr. Ward's earlier email, we'll issue the subpoena now. We're finished trying to negotiate in good faith, because they're not. I don't know if they haven't read the Home Rule Charter or the enabling ordinance or the litigation history that Mr. Ward provided to them. But it's quite clear that what we're seeking is legitimate, and they're supposed to give it to us. They're supposed to cooperate and provide to the board what the board needs to do its work. I don't know why this resistance. I've said this before, and I can't help but, just have the same feeling. I don't believe they have that which will prove they are in compliance to their own policy. If they did, there would be no reason not to turn it over to you. When you look back at some of the cases, we identified 3, but you look at Mr. Rogers' case,
Right.
their own critical review pointed the finger at a failure in supervision. I mean, it's a real serious issue, and you're not barred from looking at it. That's your job. That's what you're here to do, and to render a reasonable impression of what it is and what recommendation you would make. And they're just resisting. I don't know why. And then, reasonably come to that conclusion that they just don't have that which will prove they're in compliance to their own policy.
Mm.
So we'll issue the subpoena. We typically give, Bill, is it 10 or 20 days? I think 20 days is generally what we have given for response to the subpoenas.
Yeah, I definitely would not do 10. I think 20 is reasonable, particularly if they don't have anything to produce.
And so that if they don't have anything to produce, did we force the hand there, or do we move ahead with some strong recommendation?
We're not required to debate litigation strategy on the record.
Gotcha.
But I think your question is broad enough that there's several options that would be available, including further negotiation subsequent to the service of the subpoena, or even after the request or motion to enforce the subpoena is issued, there could be additional discussion prior to their formal response.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was sort of like thinking. I didn't know what the next process would be, but that
Sure.
makes sense. Any other questions around that?
Mr. Robinson, question.
Yeah, so I guess just considering we have a new chief coming on board and we're about to reach out to him to introduce ourselves and welcome him to hopefully come speak with us. I hear the frustration and I share the frustration and think we definitely probably should issue that. Is there any consideration though to when we reach out to him, letting him basically apprising him of this specific situation? I know he's talked in, it looks like he's done stuff about accountability. I don't know, just any thoughts on sharing that with him as he's coming in? It'd be interesting. I mean, we don't do this often. And I guess one thing I'm hesitant to do, or somewhat reluctant, is don't want to sour a relationship with a new chief as he comes in and says, oh, my review board, the review board is subpoenaing me or us. I don't know, just a thought.
It's a good thought. And I think there's always value in some kind of negotiation. That's why we've been trying to do this with the law department since November. The law department represents not only the city, but would have a strong interest in representing the new chief of police to at least obtain his input prior to responding to a formal subpoena. I would ask that you continue to delegate that authority to Ms. Pittenger so that the appropriate attempt to reach out to the new chief could be secured. But I think, Mr. Robinson, you raise a good point. We've been patient for 11 hours. It's now 11:59, so to speak, before midnight, and we, out of frustration and frankly their lack of compliance or response rather, issue the subpoena or give one more chance for Cinderella to produce the records before we strike midnight. Forgive my Disney metaphor.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're trying to build that relationship.
I would be happy to reach out to Chief Scarrato and ask him his position on this. I suspect that he will defer to the law department since it's already an activity within the law department.
He may
should
in
be
fact
made-
do
he
so, but it's a heads up for him.
Yes, yeah. Because they're not going to allow him to give us anything they don't want us to have. That's the bottom line. That's what we're dealing with here. And he's going to have minimal, it's a good time for him because his hands are clean as far as this goes. I have a belief that he will be trying to enhance the training for supervisors because that's important to him. Accountability, as you said, Mr. Robinson, is very important to him. And also the competency-based skill demonstration is important to him. So that follows that the training is probably going to be changed anyway. But I'd be happy to mention it, to reach out to him about this. But I'm just
agree.
afraid
I was gonna say I disagree. I like with I think I heard Mr. Ward say was basically it's also a courtesy. So we're still going to proceed, but letting him know, hey, this is one of the things we've been dealing with. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. I appreciate that. But in fairness to the city law department, although I considered it a disappointing response to say, here's the link to the board, to the PBP's public policies and procedural manual, the city solicitor did say, if you have any recommendations or advice on those policies, I'm happy to set up a meeting for us to review. So I didn't want to mislead the tone of their response, which I thought was disappointing, but it did also attempt to invite us to provide recommendations or advice on those policies. That's fine, but the obvious shortcoming is that we can't give meaningful advice or recommendations without seeing the materials that should have been developed pursuant to those policies. So we can say the policies are great. Now, with that in mind, where are the materials that you have to support that you've achieved compliance with your own policies? So it's a two-step process. And the fact that they are offering us an opportunity, which frankly we already have under the Home Rule Charter, to provide recommendations and advice on the policies is fine only insofar as it goes. What we need is the information, documents, and materials that have purportedly been put into place in compliance with those procedures and policies.
who we were seeking in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do apologize if some of this had been discussed in the last two meetings. I appreciate the discussion.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Robinson. I believe the ones we have left is we have,
We need to take a vote on the suspension.
oh, I'm sorry. We had a motion and we had a second. We need. to
Correct.
vote.
A vote. Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So we have 13 for continued suspension. They are case number 170-22, 143-22, 123-22, 100-22, 063-22, 197-22, 035-22, 020-22, 001-22 ED, N177-21, 252-20, 112-20, and 87-18 ED. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, questions for the investigators? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. That is the end of our case review for this evening. Ms. Hamilton, is there anybody that posed any questions or would like to speak publicly?
I don't see anything. The Ozarks said hello. WPXI is the only other person in the audience.
Okay. Thanks for attending, Ozarks. We appreciate you. All right. Having no other business other than our June meeting, which is June. My calendar up here. June 27th. June 27th is our next regular board meeting, and again, it will be remote. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy this long holiday weekend, and happy Memorial Day to everybody. And thank you to our veterans.
We need to take an adjournment.
I'm sorry. It is exactly 6:54. Do I have a motion to end the meeting?
And so move.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 I didn't hear any nays, so thanks, everybody. Happy holidays.
All right. Have a good
There
evening,
you are.
everybody.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.